listened to that report, you listened to a cross-section of Nigerians who complained about the fact that they found it very difficult to get their PVCs. Now, over the last couple of months, we've also read in the newspapers of Nigerians complaining that they have found it difficult to get their PVCs. There are only 5 days left between now and when the presidential election will hold across the country. What do you make of this?
I think it's very disappointing, to say the least, because of how critical this matter is. The life of the nation is, as per se, is almost at stake when an election comes in, and it's a time that gives the citizens the opportunity to, at least the issue of whether the vote counts or not is another thing, but let them at least have that ability to be able to, cast their vote and make their choice. Unfortunately, the budget, this is a place where people are not, choices are not made, appointments are not made. Some of this appointment is not really based on performance. I think at the end of every election, we should go back and look at how the people running INEC did at that time. Because in this situation, like you had in the report, people want to. We are those who go outside and try to convince people, go and vote, get your PVC. And then when they try to do it, it becomes like war. I read a newspaper article, I think one of these national dailies, talking about somebody in Cross River was talking about the fact that they had to contribute money for the INEC staff to buy fuel to put their generator so they can collect their PVC. Yesterday, I asked them in church, I asked some people in church, have you gotten your PVC? Surprisingly, a lot of them said, we registered. They even had their TVC. But when they went to collect their PVC, they said their name was not in the system. I asked, so what did you do? They did a report, and the INEC staff said, well, there's nothing we can do. So it's very, as much as I think in some places they've done a little bit, but I think that a lot more needs to be done. Because number one, if it's made complicated for people, if it's difficult, somebody like you and I who work will not have time to keep going to a center over and over, so we have a lot of, I think there's a lot that needs to be done in this area, because that is the one time we, as like they like to call us, the politicians like to call us the ordinary Nigerians.
Now, we've had the recurrence of these complaints. We had in 2011, we had in 2015, we're having seen in 2019. Maybe you could say the call has had varying degrees of intensity.
Yeah.
But we've had these complaints. Nigerians complaining of finding it difficult to get their PVCs. Why do we keep having these issues? Every election cycle, we have PVC issues. Why? Doesn't this reek of incompetence on the part of INEC?
It does.
Different INEC leaderships, but still the same issue.
Yeah, I think there's something fundamental about the problem here. Let me also ask you the question. Why do you think that we take 1 year to plan an election? We know the polling booths where they are, and then on the day of the election, most places materials end up arriving late, even though we planned it a whole 4 years. It has happened, and it keeps happening. It's the same thing here. I think honestly, these are really areas that Nigerians need to talk about. We need to focus on this, because once we keep getting this kind of thing wrong, the thing has a way of leading into other things. When a lot of Nigerians are disenfranchised because they are unable to collect, now not that they are not willing. Of course, the voter parties there and stuff like that, which the people like us will go out there and encourage people. But now, to make it extremely difficult, you registered, you went there, you have to go back and forth. So I think it's something that we really, really need to speak more about, talk more about it, continue to hear our voice, because we cannot, listen, it's not rocket science. There's nothing difficult about capturing people's data and printing, their cards and give to them. Come on, banks do it every day, everywhere. You can get your ATM. So there's no rocket science. But again, I also think that it has to do with, this is my own personal opinion, it also has to do with how do we appoint the people who run INEC? Is it based on their ability to drive a process?
There's this conspiracy theory, just from the last thing you said.
Yes.
There's this conspiracy theory that this might not necessarily be, even if in the grand scheme of things there is obviously some level of incompetence.
Yes.
But there's this conspiracy theory that this is not just about incompetence, that this is a deliberate ploy to disenfranchise Nigerians. I've had several messages, during the course of the newspaper review, people sending in, I think we've even had a couple of calls over the last couple of weeks, people telling us the difficulties they are faced in getting their PVCs. Some people have claimed that on getting to their registration centers, they'll be asked to pay.
Yes.
Somebody sent us a text message and said you have to pay 1,000 naira to get his PVCs. Now, how did we get to this point? And do you believe in that conspiracy theory that this might just be, deliberate ploy to probably disenfranchise a lot of Nigerians as possible?
My answer won't be yes or no, but I won't leave anything to table, because once there's no lack of credibility or fact, then people will come up with explanations. Because it doesn't make sense to you and I that we take all this while and we cannot simply, I want Nigerians to understand this. This is as simple as capturing data and printing it in a card and giving to people. Anybody can do it. So then we have a large, body like INEC with their budget. They're doing what they're doing. At the end of it all, why? At the end of it, are we going to go back and look at, say, what? Did these people do well or not? But in a situation where there are a lot of overriding interests, this is what you get. I don't believe this. I mean, there's certainly no excuse. There's certainly no excuse to say that in a situation where somebody says, I go to an INEC office and then I'm asked to pay 100 naira for the INEC staff to buy generator fuel to put in their generator. I mean, who does that? But sometimes in Nigeria, we have a situation where this report comes out, nobody cares. It looks like as much as people are getting what they want, nobody really cares. But we have to go back and look at how important this matter is, how important this election thing is, how important it is that everybody has their own card. Now, like I said, whether the vote counts or not, that's another discussion. But at least I should be able to register. I remember when I did mine, it was a talk of war, because first of all, the guys they hired were struggling with the machine, to get it right. I have an IT background, so I had to go back there and even volunteer to take my time to help them, encourage people to. It took me, doing that registration took me almost 4 or 5 hours that day. So it was like shutting down off office and going there. And I had to do that because of how important I understand this whole thing is. So no matter who is listening, no matter who is there's no way we can really move forward in a situation where either people are disenfranchised. Again, back to the question you asked. Yes, is it intentional? I may think so, because there's no other excuse. I mean, how do you explain that?
There's this video I saw on Twitter. It was tweeted by someone who was there, and it was claimed to be from the INEC office in Barnawa in Kaduna State, where they went to collect their PVCs. And in the video, it was seen where they were being dispersed, forcefully, yeah. Yes, by some persons, and they were told to go, that they would not collect PVCs. Now, in some other cases, somebody also sent in a text message, in that regard, I think a couple of weeks ago, and said when he went to collect his, he was promptly told by the INEC officials to come after the elections. Now, maybe this is really just some level of incompetence, or maybe the INEC is just being overwhelmed by the demand and the rush for these PVCs. But don't you think with events like this, it will go on to, buttress this thought that maybe there's a deliberate attempt to disenfranchise people?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, my brother. Like yesterday, I said I was talking to people. I could see how, this kind of disconnected they are from the entire process. Because it has bad effect even on the people. So I think yes, because there's no other explanation. You cannot tell me his process. You cannot tell me his system. You cannot tell me his budget. You cannot tell me. Like I said, there's nothing complicated about printing a card. Okay, and then knowing that this is something that we know, so it's not that we didn't have enough time. So in a situation where you have people are either sent back, or people are told to contribute money, or people are told that the worst part of it is somebody has a TVC, and then the person goes back to collect the permanent one. They said your data is not in the system. Data don't just vanish in the system. Where did you print the TVC from? I mean, these are very, very serious issues. And if this is a country where people are evaluated based on competency, based on how well they delivered on their job. I think the INEC themselves has much questions to answer. But it appears that I got my own man, you got your own man, and then we keep rolling, because these are not issues that anybody should overlook. How do I go back to convince the person again? Okay, don't worry, go back again, go and start all over again, go and register again. It's a problem. So I think that there's something that we all Nigerians should be aware of. Everybody should raise up their voice and say, hey, look, because if we don't get the card, we cannot vote. And then you also have the story of other people telling you that they saw people with 4 or 5 PVC different PVCs being handled by people. So somebody needs to come and explain. At least INEC owns us an explanation to come and tell us why these things are happening, exactly what they're doing, to have the issue come.
But when we talk of the people too who are complaining about the challenges they have had in collecting the PVCs, but the question one would ask is, have they also contributed their part by going early enough? Because at this point, we all know, as Nigerians, we like going for things quite late. At this point, things will get a little bit more difficult because they are also preparing for other activities beyond issuing of these PVCs. Do you think maybe these persons should have, gone much earlier to try to collect their PVCs? Maybe if they had gone earlier, they probably wouldn't be facing all of these problems right now.
Sorry to say, in this part of the world, sometimes the last minute thing happens to be something that we are all aware of. The last minute rush is something we are all aware of. And you know what? If they are competent enough, this is something that should be planned. Yeah, should people wait to the last minute? No, but it does happen. It's not a strange thing in Nigeria that you do a registration. People will want to register a week before that. I run an events like that, and that's what you get. People want to register a day before the event, and so
why is that so?
I don't want to say it's something that is present in our environment. We are not going to dismiss it. So if you're running a system that requires people to pick up something, you should be able to plan that, yes, this kind of thing might likely happen. So it's not something that we're unaware for. Now, am I saying that people should wait for the last minute? No. But does that happen? Yes. So it's not something that we're taking unawares, that we don't know that. But even apart from the last minute rush, which will happen, the issues of, number one, people being asked to pay money, people who have TVCs, that's the one that is very painful.
Well, don't you think if people had gone much earlier, you wouldn't have been in this rush in the first place, and nobody would have had the temerity to ask you to pay money?
Are they being asked to pay money because they came late?
Because there's a rush now. There's a rush now.
So there's a rush, and then they should pay to collect the PVC.
No. I'm not saying it is justified.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is maybe, just maybe, if they had gone earlier, we had a similar case with the PVN registration.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people didn't go on time up until when it was close to the deadline, and in fact the CBN had to extend the deadline again. The question is, maybe if people had gone much earlier to collect their PVCs, maybe they wouldn't have had all of these problems. You don't think so?
No, I believe that it's, like I said, it's advisable. We ask people to do things on time. And I'm not sitting here saying, it's okay, they should do it last minute. But the reality is that this is what happens. And we live in part of the world, no matter how much, this is not just this INEC thing. If you've done any program here that requires registration, you know that's going to happen. People just show up at the last minute. Now, am I saying that's what they should do? No. Perhaps if they went earlier, maybe they wouldn't face more queues, they wouldn't have to wait long. But on the other part, if you're a systems person, working in an environment that you're very conversant with, you should anticipate that this kind of thing will happen.
Yes, the last caller we had raised a very important point. Why can't INEC have an all year round registration policy? Why wait until election season? When I say election season, not necessarily on the year of the election, but when it's so close to elections, maybe the year before. Why can't we have a situation where you can register whenever, even if the election season is not upon us?
Thank you very much. I think they will have such a program. INEC supposed to have such a program, and the issue is the citizens or the voters. Are they willing to go and register at that time? I don't think INEC will not have such a program. I know there is a program of continuous registration in INEC. I know there's a program of continuous registration. If you turn 18, but like what he said earlier, are the citizens, are we willing? You're saying, do we even know when we turn 18 to go and register? Like there's another issue that he raised that is very vital, comparing Nigeria every time with the developed world or the Western world. The major issue about Nigeria, mailing it through the post office or not mailing it through the post office, the issue of data collection. Do we have a national citizen's data? Who is a Nigerian? That's the big question. Who is a Nigerian? When it comes to election, when it comes to read through identifying who is a Nigerian, that's their challenge. If we're able to get that right, have a straight identity for a Nigerian, a database for Nigerian, okay, this person have died, register birth, register death, and all citizens are registered. That is when we'll be able to achieve what he just mentioned. That when you turn 18, the system will automatically tell you, oh, you are 18 today. Please, can you come and register? Because we need to be reminded, like just some of us. I know most of us, it's Facebook that helps us even to remember our children's birthday and our wife's birthday. It's Facebook. Maybe you popped up, maybe some hours later in the day, you saw your wife's birthday, and then you now remember, oh, you smile and pretend as if you want to give a surprise. No, that is the system. Because you see, that system is just the same way Facebook and all this social media is reminding or generating, because it has our data. That is what the first thing a sensible government should do for Nigeria. The issue of Niger, Chad invading Nigeria for election, registering in Nigeria, it won't happen. You see me? I have in fact, if I tell you a story, it's just that he's a friend, so I wouldn't like to expose here. You see me? Who is in Nigeria? That's the major issue. That's the major. If we get that right, national citizens data and identification, this thing, so we can be able to achieve that one.
Well, they said they are ready, but how do we define readiness? The thought that was in my mind was this: let's make an assumption that INEC has a mandate that to make sure that this number of people, they exceed this number of people at a given time. Because if we say we're ready, well, people have collected their PVC, some people are crying, and they say they're ready. I saw the INEC chairman on TV the other day trying to show us how to use the paper. So these are the things that also on their own standpoint they consider that as being ready. But I just want to piggyback to what my brother here said. When I talk about Nigeria, sometimes I try to stay off some things that I know is not feasible at this time, because I could say, well, let's do it this way, let's do it that way, but we have to. But what I'm talking about is this. Listen, the issue we always have is that how do we, what is the channel that produces the people who handle these issues? How do we elect leaders? How do we appoint people? Because if you get it wrong at that place, it takes only one person who comes in there and say, you know what, I want to get this one right. I will be done right. No matter whatever the situations are, no matter whatever the issues are, it can be solved. Like I said, I'm a system person, so there is no perfect system in the world. But we have to keep, improving it in a situation where the same thing happens every year. Then that's where I have an issue. The other thing the man talked about running for election, I think that this is also part of the process. This is what we're talking about here. The last time I was here, I mentioned that it's important we start talking about how to open up the entire process to get more people involved, and they also start by having a lot more people collect their PVCs. I love to use this analysis. In Anambra State, their last governorship election, I think they have about 4 million registered voters. In fact, I was saying this in church yesterday. They have 4 million registered voters, and then the total number of people who voted was about 400 and something thousand, and the governor won by 250 something thousand votes. So in other words, it was 256,000 people that decided the fate of the entire Anambra citizens. That is very scary. That's very scary. Yes.
Really scary. Really, really scary. Are we seeing a situation where INEC officials are deliberately disenfranchising a section of the country in favor of the other?
I think I've heard many people say that but I have my own little experience. I collected my PVC, I think, was it on Friday?
This past Friday?
Yeah, that's okay. Friday. And nothing like that happened. Anyway, you know, I'm a public speaker, so I won't like to discredit INEC in public by me say as a journalist also. And there's no way, Yosemite, I can do that. But what I understand is the major problem of INEC is voters' education at all levels. How many of us are listening? How many people, Nigerians, are listening to the radio or television at that time? And how many of them are being trained? You're saying are being educated on what to do. For instance, at the point of registration, at somewhere close to Civil Service Commission, this junior secondary school, that is why I registered. It's not actually registration; it was transfer because I moved from Lagos to Abuja. I want to move my voting right to Abuja. Then they told me that I will collect it at Lugbe Primary School. I waited, but on checking that, every day I was postponing that I was going like every other Nigerians, every other citizen were postponing. And at the end of the day, when I got there on Friday, the crowd, when I got on Thursday at Lugbe Primary, the crowd and every other thing, I said, okay, what actually helped me, I would have also wasted a lot of time. You know, when they check, they say it's not here. But because I know it's not here, there should be a clearer answer that is not here. So I try to engage from behind one of them. Please, can you check? When they now look closely to my card, the not TVC, the paper for transfer, they give you a pen paper. So when they now look close, they say, oh, you are supposed to collect this PVC at Kabusa.
That is the problem.
From that area to Lugbe and now to
That's
Kabusa.
the
I'm
problem.
supposed to collect it at Kabusa. So I now actually send a guy living with me to Kabusa with this and told him, when you get there, tell them, look at the paper, my own and my wife, tell them Oga send you to collect it. If they want to say they are not giving you, cry to them, you lose your job. So he got there and collect the PVC for me. So if INEC is collecting money or demanding money from anybody to issue the PVC, it's wrong, very, very wrong. But I can tell you the fundamental problem that we have as Nigerians, and that is what we should sit down and discuss as a Nigerian and revitalize, Yosemite, is commitment to being a Nigerian, our citizenship. Yosemite, with every other thing is so much important to us, but whatever concerns civic service or what we're doing, collecting the PVC, most of us see it, a lot of Nigerians, and it's actually true, see it as doing favor to Nigeria or doing favor to somebody else. You know what I mean? And that is why, like that guy said, most people that are supposed to be educating or doing something voluntarily or as a civic service to make sure the system is working are not being there. You know what I mean? So we concentrate on what the little thing that we are doing. So, and you can't blame anybody. When you see people put in a lot of things, you know what I mean, and their labor is just brushed and nobody even recognize what they are doing. You know what I mean? So it becomes a problem. So I don't think we can blame anybody, but I also don't think that INEC will openly collect money. But I know for sure that people offered the guys tip to help them make it fast.
All right,
I know that people do that to make it fast, because in my presence there, I saw a guy that drove in. He wanted it fast. You know, and when they look at you, when the guys look at you from inside, they can even come out and you want this, you know, and not everybody.
And then he paid for it.
The guy may, because at the point I saw him went back to his car, come back, but I don't know whether he paid. But I know somebody can say, okay, facilitate this thing for me, can you help me? Not them asking, because I saw people queuing and fighting at the window, the Lugbe area that I went to. But when I could not do that, you know what I mean, I just was looking for a way to get the attention of one of them, to discuss with him, to engage the person. I engaged the person, I said, look closely. Most of them, that's the problem. I don't know whether they read or whether they were meant to understand. Actually, when you give education, you're supposed to understand that there are a lot of things that you need to understand with the paper given to you, so that you know exactly how to direct the other person. That's why I say about education. You know what I mean? Because if actually these people are educated and also carry along. Once they look at your TVC or the plain paper for transfer that you are bringing, they should exactly know what to tell you. And they're also supposed to be a system that also control that data, that not this manual thing. I think that's what wastes a lot of time at the centers. Because when I got there, I was expecting to see all of them facing a computer, that once this thing comes in, you can punch it. Even if these things, data are downloaded in Excel format, not even in a large apps that you can say that cost us a lot of money. Excel is free. You know what I mean? It can be queued in Excel. And once you bring somebody's name or the is it VIN's number and queue in there, you know, you see the person's number, you will understand exactly. Even if it should be general for FCT once, or for the AMAC, people that are registered within the AMAC. Once you queue in there, you see, okay, you can quickly direct the person, okay, please, you are not here, go to Kuje or go to the other place, which will have been better.
Okay. I love what this question, must we Nigerians always suffer? That is the question. Because the process itself is designed in a way that is frustrating. Sir, this is technology. It's not witchcraft. We know how it works, right? The question I want to ask you is it not possible, technology-wise, that if I register, I collect my card on the spot? Is it simple? It's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
If they don't know how to do it, there are Nigerians who know how to do it. That we can eliminate all these troubles. That you go there, you register. All it takes is to transfer the data to a card. It's not miracle. It's not witchcraft. We don't have to do any other thing overnight. But you see, this question this person is asking is very important, because it's not just with election only. The driver's license, the same thing. Why is it not? It's technology now. We can design this process in a way. Look at the other color that code. You can see that these people are pained in their heart. These people want to contribute. They want to vote. But the process has been made impossible to them. So we want to ask, who is benefiting from this process that is not working? If it is a poll that we're doing here, look at the number of people who have called. Everybody says the same thing, frustrated. So how do we get it right? How can we come and say, INEC, listen, and like you said, they've never complained for forms. Forms are there. So if we want to get this thing right, we can get it. But remember what I said from the beginning. The reason we're having issues in this country is that what is the process that produces those who run these places? Because if you put somebody there who is committed to turning this process around, my brother, in 1 year it will be done.
Let's talk about the bond PVC quickly before we take a break. You know, it's happened, you know, over in different states now. Are these accidents or just sabotage?
At least it has happened in one local government twice. Even if it's thunder, there should be the same thunder doesn't strike in one place twice. So that one is a straightforward answer. I think it happened 2 weeks ago in Iselangwa South, where people, and this is the second time it is happening. So you can see that politicians are getting desperate with that, because why will any other person go to burn PVCs? I don't know what they hope to achieve with that, but it's a very, very sad thing. And I believe that this is where the security forces themselves should pay, because it's a very bad thing. Look at what we are discussing here, how difficult it is to register. Then after you register, probably your own is burnt. And then you have to face the system again. You have to face the system again. So that, when I had that, it's very, very sad. So I think that this is something that, if we really, there's something the lady who called, I forgot her name, informer said, yeah. If truly we are fighting corruption in this country, if truly we are fighting, this INEC now, the structural changes, the system changes, the policies changes, is what should tell us, yes, example, we are doing something new. But the same story we are crying is the same thing we've been crying since INEC was there. And then, for example, another thing is that these burnt PVCs, up till now, there's no report. The government, there's no follow-up. They
said they will investigate.
We will leave
how many weeks?
We will leave no stone unturned. That's normal. We will leave no stone unturned.
Okay, let's take a quick break. All right, gentlemen, I'll get last words from you before we end this morning. Let me start with you, Mr. Adile. Last words before we end.
I think is that last question, is that the preparation of INEC boiled down back to the leadership insensitiveness of Nigerian leaders. You see, Nigerian leaders are very insensitive to the challenges of the citizen in every sphere of our living, endeavor, everything that we do, they are insensitive. Like, for instance, the INEC have a good media section, communication section that are listening monitoring what the citizens are saying. But because they are insensitive, nobody listening to what, try to react or give a feedback on what is happening. So that is the challenge, Yosemite. And they say democracy is for the people and by the people. And now the people are talking, are crying. Look at the challenge we have, and nobody is attending to it. What we call it is a Nigerian problem.
Okay, Mr. Jacob.
Oh, well, the last word I have to put in here is this. It's not because technology is my background, but it does make things easy for us. The goal of technology is to enhance processes, is to make things more effective and more efficient. I had INEC said that they are using technology. Unfortunately, it's like somebody buying a smart TV and just saying, I'm smart because I bought a smart TV. The technology is supposed to make processes easier, faster, make it more convenient, give you more output. So if they say we're using technology and we're still having all these problems, we have done nothing yet. All I want to say is that we have to look at how these leaders are appointed so that we can get people who go there with the desire, like my brother said, of helping Nigerians, to make these processes work. Thank you.